Hello, Active Sage here on the Sage channel, and a nice little update came out today that is basically shifting a lot of stuff into place for the upcoming exploration feature. And first off, we're going to go into our edit settings on a world, go to advanced, and they've added a destructible blocks switch right down here at the bottom right. And if you have that turned off, now none of the blocks in your world can be destroyed. So I'm going to go ahead and load into this world, and there you go. And you can now see, well, asteroids loading in, more LODs. That's pretty cool. That started happening a few updates ago, I think. Pretty awesome stuff. But now if I was to go ahead and copy, let's say, Plutos here, and ram it into the other Plutos, or into the other ship, you can see they hit each other. But you can see that both ships are still intact. Oh, and that one, of course, because it saw something started on its way. Oh, to be silly, silly bugger. Anyway, these ships are here because there's two more things I did. Second off is if we do Control H, you can see at the right here this thing shows up. But if I was in a multiplayer game and I had other people here, or if I had joined a multiplayer game, that has a graph there to sort of show you your connection to the game and how laggy you are and all this stuff. So it's to help diagnose lag issues, and you can use that to check on stuff. You can also see it has your current frames per second and other stuff there, which is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and shut that off with Control H again. Other thing they did today, though, wasn't really an update. Well, it links into an update. It's for the exploration mode. They're asking for a second round of ships from the people. And this time they don't want just bog standard ships. I think the auto miner has flown off. But they want ships that actually have an art style to them. So and what I mean by that is they want you to give them a grouping of ships, not just one, but give them a few different ships that have a unified art style to them. So as an example, I have Plutos here and my auto miner. These are my sort of automated mining ships, and you can see I have a sort of a similar art style to them. If you were to upload these, you probably want to tweak their colors to be a bit similar. And they've also changed the way you would upload these. So in the past, when you uploaded them, you had to go to their one website. Well, now what you can do is when you do a publish, so let's go ahead, details, publish, you say yes to that, and that didn't work right. When I do publish, and after I click this, there should be a button that pops up that says, do you want to publish the workshop? It's possible there was another little hotfix I didn't get, but it should be a little tiny click button for tags, and it'll just have an exploration thing. You click that and simply they'll let them know that you want to submit that for a ship to be added to the exploration mode as random ships that will be spawning in and stuff like that, or be out there naturally in the world. Pretty cool stuff, though. Also, for the destruction thing, I should note that it will also be immune to damage from missiles and other stuff. Now, why do I have all this other stuff over here? Well, as I said, they want the ships to have a similar design, so if you're submitting multiple ships, please have a similar design. That way they can sort of put them out into the universe with a sort of making different squadrons and different factions they can form and stuff like that. Also, what they want you to do is make sure you've gone into the actual ships and put in any uranium that you might need. So if you've got a large reactor, go ahead and put in some uranium into it and other things like that. Also, over here, make sure you have your piping set up. So if you build something silly like this, okay, fine, but it's got no pipes connected to it, so they're definitely not going to accept it. Go ahead, make sure you stick your pipes in, make sure you got uranium in there, and at the bottom I have a turret down here, make sure it's connected up, and then in your storage container, also go ahead and make sure that you have your ammo for it, and try to make sure it's a reasonable amount. This might be a bit much, actually, so make sure you switch into survival mode before you finally upload these blueprints, and make sure that there's not too much stuff just crammed in there. Also, don't go over the top on turrets and stuff like that. They want a reasonable amount, 3 or 4 for like the big red ship, not 500 stuck on top of it. And of course, you would have to pipe them all up as well. They also don't want you going mad on production stuff. So if we were to do a new station and go ahead and place this down here, and run this across, my bottom hotbar is reset. It's a recent bug I've been seeing where the bottom hotbar always seems to reset every time I reload a world. Yeah, it seems to reset all of them this time. But you can see that for production stuff, they don't want you setting 500 refineries in here and 200 assemblers. So try to make it a reasonable amount of stuff, not just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things like I've done in the past. Very cool, but it can be a bit finicky. So try not to just go overboard like I am doing here, obviously, because that would be a bit silly. They don't want it all lagged down. Of course, we can all build this once we're actually in game, but for the normally spawning in stuff in the world, they don't really want that too much. Even if you've got it all properly hooked up with pipes and stuff, they still don't want you doing this just because it would bog down the entire system. So hold off on doing things too over the top like that for the things you're submitting for exploration mode. Other thing to be aware of is they actually do want to have limits on the poly count on this. You might be a bit strange to hear that, but the way you find that out is pop into a cockpit, press K. I believe it's under the info. Hold on one sec. Yes, it is, right there. I can't believe I missed it. Right there on the left. You see at the very bottom there, it has triangles. That's the amount of polygons that are in there. And if we go ahead and look up really quickly, they have limits. And thank you, Captain Alaska, for posting this on Reddit, so I didn't have to rewatch the video a fourth time. They want small ships have to have less than 80,000 triangles. So while you're building the ships, just double check on that to check that out. Large ships have to be less than 350,000 triangles. Large ship stations less than 500,000 triangles. So what they're saying there is just stations have to be less than the 500,000. So again, that's 80,000 for small ships, 350,000 for large ships, and 500,000 for stations. One last thing to note is that they also don't want you using rotors or pistons because they're not quite sure if they'll be changing those in the future in some way. So just hold off on using those right now. And remember, to submit one of these, it's very simple. Just go ahead, pull up its blueprint, click on the one you want to submit, do the publish thing. After you click this, there should be a little thing that says tags, and it'll have an exploration thing, and you tag that. It's not working for me for some reason, but it should be there. You can also just submit a world, and it'll actually have a tag for that as well. So if you have a world with an asteroid or something in it built in, you can submit that. Anyway, guys, that's it. I think that's everything. It's a pretty simple update, but it's pretty cool that they're asking for even more ships. I'm not sure if I'll submit anything. I'm still a bit under the weather, strangely enough. That's why my videos have been slightly more sporadic. I have a headache for about 2 weeks now that comes and goes. I'm living off of Tylenol, pretty much. Anyway, guys, though, enough of me babbling on about my griefs with my own body failing me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little bit of update. I hope you're working on some fantastic ships. Remember, check those poly counts. Make sure you have all the correct piping set up. Make sure that you have uranium in there and ammo if you have a ship that's supposed to use, well, of course, uranium and then ammo. I guess you could have a ship without uranium if you had a battery supply. Anyway, guys, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was informative, and I shall see you next time.